Number 11 was discussion and possible action to award a contract for the restoration of the Karnes County Courthouse Phase 1 and authorizing the county judge to execute and perform under the contract. That was item number 11. Those are on the back, Mr. Busselman. This is filed down there, and you can look at these. These are actually down in the courthouse if anybody wants to see these.
Those are the bidders? That's
Yes,
the bidders
sir.
list?
Mm-hmm.
And that was the date that the contract was approved unanimously by the commission?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. That was what the notes say is discussion and possible action to award a contract for the restoration of the Karnes County Courthouse Phase 1 and authorizing the county judge to execute and perform under the contract. And I'm not going to assume anything, I guess, because I don't know what the discussion was or I don't know if somebody actually sit down and broke down the bids or not. I don't know that. I've had people tell me a variety of things, and it will be.
They're right there. Those are the bids. I suppose if I see those correctly, I probably typed that myself. And from the bid opening that occurred a couple of days.
You typed the agenda item yourself?
No, the bid, the last page that you have there.
Uh-huh.
That's the
If
bidders.
that's handwritten, is that your writing?
No, that's my typewriter. My word processor.
Okay, anyway, it says discussion of possible action to award a contract for the restoration of the Karnes County Courthouse. I have been told, I was there, I can't remember, I've read these notes so many times, I've read a lot of notes so many times, I really don't know what they say anymore. I have been told that there was not a holistic discussion, it was just given to the lowest bidder. I don't know. But I'm just following you up with what I have regarding this contract. The rest is, and this is from the Texas Historical Commission.
Morning.
Yes, sir.
I was at that meeting.
Uh-huh.
I was on Citizens Be Heard,
Mm-hmm.
and I asked them not to give that contract at this time until we had a full grant. You remember that?
Oh, I remember you doing that.
Okay, that was that meeting. I asked them not to give this contract to tear the wing off because it is the best part of the courthouse. It's the most stable part. And there was no explanation of anything about it. There was very little discussion about whether they just voted to award the contract.
What did they, I guess the discussion is how did we know MJ Boyle got the contract since they were never filed downstairs? In Commissioner's Court, did you guys go down the line and,
No,
I mean,
I don't think they did. They just announced that the bids had been gone over before by Mr. Fisher and that I would recommend to get the contract. That's the best amount of recommendation. Is that how it's done?
It was voted on unanimously by the Commissioners Court to accept Mr. Boyle as the contractor for the project. And you authorized Judge Kendall to sign a contract. And we signed a contract between Judge Kendall and MJ Boyle in November. And I have that signed contract.
okay, I have those too. And then what we also have is I have these two contracts. Mr. Baker has one. I don't know if anybody else has ever seen them, but I gave Mr. Baker one the other day. This is a contract with Mr. Boyle and a change order on this contract with Mr. Boyle. I don't believe either one of these have been filed either. So what we have here is, what I have from Mrs. Fleming with the Texas Historical Commission is a notice to proceed to bid phase 1. Prior to the contracting starting, I'm confused, and Mr. Busselman and I have looked at this a few times. We don't have anything authorizing actual work to start. But what we do have is a clause in our contract. We're getting bills from Mr. Boyle, which I can't explain, and I need to be able to explain them, is, I don't know what they are, I guess. I've asked Mr. Boyle what they are, too. There is a, I had this whole thing. I know I had something marked off. Luana, do you remember what those bills said? I know we went over them and... Do you remember? I remember I was confused. I showed them to you. We kind of sit there and tried to decipher it, and then we asked him. I'm missing a page of this like we usually do, but that's okay. Where's that letter? Remember, we were missing a letter to go ahead and start with phase one.
Well,
That's,
we
we have
have
the
the letter.
phase.
Received a work letter from the historical commission, but it just picked up, said for the first phase, for the bid section, the bid phase, and we have no other.
So anyway, we're lacking a lot. But I guess the reason that we're here tonight is to try to figure out what is going on. We wanted to hear from the citizens. We wanted to hear everybody's piece and say of what they thought should happen. And I'm assuming, does anybody else have anything they want to share about questions that we're getting or priorities that we're receiving or anything else that they feel that needs to be brought up tonight? This is, there it is. It was, thank you very much. This was going to be the 8th day of November.
It's front and back,
And we don't have this, so if somebody can, the architect will issue the first notice to proceed for the abatement work as described in phase 1 within 5 days of the execution of this agreement. A second notice to proceed with the remaining work will be issued at a later date. We don't have either, but the work has started.
I issued the notice to proceed to the contractor. As an architect, I'm a licensed architect in the state of Texas. And what clients do is they hire architects to handle construction projects for them. And once the contract is signed by the county, which it was, and the county, I don't know why it's not been filed with the proper authorities. That's once it's signed and I gave it to the judge, it's out of my hands. Your copy of it. That's not my responsibility. But I have a contract to proceed with the work and make it work on the way it should. And so I got the notice to proceed from the Texas Historical Commission, and then I issued a notice to proceed to the contractor. I have that authority to move that project forward in that way, and we did. And then we started the work on the abatement in December.
Well, and does anybody else have anything to add?
Mr. Fisher, the contract on carrying off the wing was not supposed to be going into until we all got out of the courthouse.
No, that's not the way it read. That's not what the contract says. It says I'm supposed to issue the notice to proceed in 5 days after this contract is signed. And the contract was signed in November. And so I issued the notice to proceed for phase 1 of the abatement. And then it's supposed to have the phase 2 at a later date once the rest of the work is done.
Now, Mr. Boyle had told me that come March, he's starting to tear off that wing.
No,
He sent me an email last week saying that specific thing. I think
That's what he
CC'd you, I think
expected.
I CC'd you, and somebody's going to have to give me a place to go because I don't have anywhere to go next door, and that's my office they're tearing.
no, that was never the agreement to kick y'all out of your own building. The agreement was that once that building was completed, then you would move out of this building so it could be safely removed.
But last week he sent me an email saying that he was going to start tearing down that wing in March as per his contract.
Well, I didn't.
I have that email. I'll forward it to you if you leave me an email address, or I'll give you my email address.
Okay.
I mean, I can. It's Barbara.Shaw.
I have it.
You do? Okay. I will forward you that email because I have no place to go. I have no place to put my secretary. I have no place to put anybody.
Well,
And so everybody's going to have to get their stuff in line because it's really hard because as an elected official, it's my job to answer to these guys. And I've got to be able to give them answers of what we're doing and why. And I don't have the answers to give them. And I don't know if these guys have the answers to give them because I don't know where it's filed and what to do with it. So we're in kind of a 9-line bind there. And I hope we can answer those questions when we meet on these 28th.
well, that's why we have been trying to meet Judge, I know that you had problems on the 9th and couldn't meet with us on February the 9th when I met with Mr. Busselman. I still would like to have that meeting or come to the Commissioner's Court next Monday and explain it to the whole commission and try to outline where we stand on this project and invite the contractor to let him talk with y'all also about what he expects on the procedure of the rest of the contract.
Now, the contract reads that 5 days after but the second notice to proceed to the remaining work will be issued at a later date.
Right, and we haven't issued that yet.
Then he has already sent us a bill. Now, what we were told, those of us that reside here in the courthouse, my office is here, that we would be moved out on November 1 because the building would be finished. And that's where we would reside until the restoration of the courthouse has been completed. Well, now, if you start to tear off the wing in March, we have no place to go, number one.
That won't happen.
And we're going to have books laying all over the place.
Yeah, that won't happen. There's no way the contractor can
So what was the order?
Why did you send us that email? I don't understand.
well, I think that's just a misunderstanding. Because there's no way we can kick you out of your courthouse until you're ready to move, voluntarily. So,
It appears that there was a schedule of when that annex would be finished, and that schedule has not been.
Oh, no, we understand the schedule.
And that needs to
The
be,
schedules have been
that needs
compromised.
to be conveyed to your contractor, this other contractor on this building, so that he can readjust the schedule. He's basing it on the schedule y'all provided him, I would assume.
Well, but again, he should not have started the phase until something.
he's only started phase 1.
Pardon?
He's only started phase 1.
The only notice we have is starting phase 1, which is good.
No, there's a second notice to proceed.
We don't have it.
Well, that's because we didn't file that. That's not an official notice, except between me and the owner, that was Judge Kendall at that time.
Still get back to what could he do? He being the contractor, what could he